Well, this brings us to our front yard gardens. So we'll come in here. We've already kind of talked about it. We've got the raspberry here. I know, not real proud, but he got pretty burned this year, but it's still alive, so that's a good thing. It's in a pot. This is also a thornless raspberry in a pot. We have a couple lavenders here in the garden. We start off with a huckleberry here to the right. And of course, you've got to have your huckleberry to the left. Here we have a columnar apple tree. I've got 4 of them. They're lovely. They grow straight up in a column like this, so they're really fun to grow. As I mentioned before, all of our apples have been so decimated by apple maggots and codling moss that I'm not real proud of them right now. These are those columnars. Give you a good view of them. Here we have another raspberry. Doing a little better, but definitely has some very burned places on it. Got a little apple there. Got apples kind of everywhere. We've got some big, beautiful apples, but I'm pretty sure they're probably eaten with bugs. Everything seems to be, even with the little stockings on them. We've got a nice garden of tomatoes here. Mostly these are like my big beefsteaks. Doing pretty well. Getting a few here and there. Over here we've got, this is one of my favorite beans. This is the purple violetta, it's called, which is a purple green bean. Super yummy, very, very good producer. This is a volunteer sunflower. You notice there's a theme, I keep having those. The grape, this is my Methuselah grape. These guys are starting to get ripe. We only got a couple more weeks left and these guys will be ready. These are an old, we believe a Campbell's Blue. It's a very old grape. But man, this little tree that I transplanted and drug over here, I call it a tree because I took it from a neighbor's and it's a very old one. And I brought it here and I wired it up and it's been here for about 5 years now, but by the time I moved it, it hardly had any roots. Nobody thought it would live, but she lived and is doing quite well, and we'll get a ton of grapes off of this. You'll be surprised at how much grapes you can get off of something like this and actually have a really pretty centerpiece in your yard. Over here, you guessed it, more sweet potatoes. These are just like little pots that are just here to have a few more strawberries, but also just kind of, you know, these posts. And these posts here are just hollow wood posts that I'm covering up some T-bars or T-posts in that were there to help hold up that grape tree. I think at this point she probably would hold herself up, but you know, why risk it? I just want her to be really strong. So she's still there on those and no reason not to have them. Again, over here we've got the beans, the green beans growing, and then we've got more tomatoes. And as we spoke about, here's more sweet potatoes. And then the back side of the espaliered apple trees. Here, lots of green beans. I'm gonna have to come out and pick some of these for dinner. I've been doing them right along, but you know how it goes. And it's not a bad problem to have. It's okay. You just have to kind of keep cooking with the season and what you need to make. You kind of come out to the garden and say, okay, what do I need to get made this time? Well, this is kind of a mess. I guess I shouldn't be showing that, but that's my pressure washing duties and things. But this is the back side of that espaliered apple trees on our entryway here. And this is just a little pot of a little variety. Let's say, I think those are sun golds that are in that one. But and reaching for the sky, as you can see, they're kind of going up forever. But they make a little entry. We like to put the little picking ones, the little cherry type tomatoes, close to the doorway because rarely do they really make it in the house. So you might as well have them at the doorway where you can pick and eat them easier. Again, more strawberries, another rosemary, more strawberries, more cherry tomatoes. Over here we have my fall winter gardens going. I like to keep them covered because these are the greens. So like the beets, I get the most beautiful beet greens because I keep them covered so I don't get the leaf miners and things like that in it. But I will open this up so you can kind of take a peek. What do we have going in here? I think I've got cauliflower, broccoli, beets. Oh, we've got some pink celery. And they all are doing pretty darn well. You see under here, get an idea. There's beets back there. Oh, there's Brussels sprouts back there. You've got celery along here. And then you've got your broccolis along here. And this whole area, see if you can see under there. Yeah, there you go. It's full of those. And this remay works wonderful for keeping the bugs out of it. It still can rain through it and it can grow through it, but the bugs just don't seem to bother it. Now I'll tell you the one thing that's not deterred by this and thinks it's just at home is slugs. So you want to come out every once in a while, and sorry about that shot. You want to come out every once in a while and do your little slug party, because you get slugs in here because they go underneath there and have a party because there's nothing competing with them, as I'm sure you can tell. Along here, we've got our blueberry patch. Blueberries have done really well this year. Lots and lots and lots of blueberries. And I've got early, which is pretty much gone right here. We've got some mids and we've got some lates going on. This is a little one in a pot. Never does as well as ones in the ground though. Let's just be real. This is my crabapple tree in my seating area. Over here, of course, is that other bed. Basically the duplicate of what you just saw on the other side. Same kind of stuff. You've got everything, but if you notice, there's no whitefly, there's no coddling, there's barely any holes. It's like it's a completely different beast when you keep it covered so that the bugs aren't laying their eggs on there the whole summer. And you'll get beautiful, pristine beet greens that you can eat and don't feel bad about eating or showing people, because the biggest pest, I think, for beet greens is leaf miner. Let's see if we've got some here you can show you. Yeah, here's some beet greens. And you see there's no leaf miner, so you can eat your beet greens. And leaf miners, they're so hard to fight those because the pest will lay its egg, and the egg dwells between the two surfaces, so right in the middle. So you could wipe it, spray it, clean it, do whatever you want to it. It's not going to do you any good because that little maggot or whatever it is, the little bug, is between the surfaces of the leaf, so you can't get to it at all. So the best way to do it is to keep it from ever getting there in the first place. And that is what the remay does. Maybe not beautiful, but your produce underneath there will be beautiful. Over here, this is our seating area, as we kind of talked about in my posts. This is my normal spot that I grow my sweet potatoes, as you can see, and our big pile of wood chips. We've got, we've got over here, this is a African purple basil. I don't really use the basil from this, but the bees love it. So this is purely for the bees. Smells super good. It also seems to be a really good deterrent to mosquitoes, so you could take some of those leaves and rub them on yourself for getting rid of the mosquitoes. So it is something you can't grow from seed, so all you can really do is like take it in the house at the end of the season, try to keep it going through winter, or buy it again in the spring. These guys are calendulas, little calendula seeds that look like boomerangs. And I just come out here and do this. If I've missed picking the calendula, just reseed it. I don't care. As long as it gives me flowers and I've got calendula everywhere, I'm happy. And now you can see the craziness of another sweet potato bed. Yes, we grow a lot of sweet potatoes. We like them. And there you can see the tomato house. Everything's strung up. We'll walk in there in just a minute. And those are all grown in 5-gallon buckets. Out here we have, this is our mason bee house, which they've been brought in for the season already, so they're not out here. This is the other side of the fig tree. Down here, well, this is supposed to be, it actually is, alpine strawberries, and they're in there. Right now, you're gonna see a lot of morning glory. Do you remember me saying this is the good, the bad, the most beautiful? Well, this would definitely be under the bad. We have bindweed down here in the valley, and it loves us. So it's my thing. You know, everybody's got something, and bindweed or morning glory is our thing that we're dealing with, and basically the only way I really see to get rid of it is just constantly be picking it. We just pull it constantly, but if you don't pay attention to it, I think we'd be like Sleeping Beauty, or I think it's Sleeping Beauty where her whole castle gets covered in it. I think if I didn't pick it for 1 week, I'd probably be covered in bindweed or morning glory and wouldn't be able to move. This is my little wagon. My sister gave me a little red flyer wagon down here, and I planted it up with nasturtiums and calendula, and it's such a cute little thing. Then, of course, we've got some herbs growing above it, which everyone will recognize. There's a whole lot of basil that really needs to be picked and done something with. We've also got more grapes here. These are actually Concord grapes along here. And in here we have, this is, oh yeah, jalapenos in 5-gallon buckets. Then you've got all different kinds of tomatoes growing very, very well. We do have a cover on this house to try to prolong the season a little bit, but it doesn't have sides on it. It is what it is, you know. They're getting pretty beat up at this time of year, as you can kind of see. And but you know, all in all, they're pretty healthy, pretty great plants. Everybody looks pretty happy here. Big plants going up to the 6 foot or above right there, I guess. This side we've got, these are some cuttings I took off of my Methuselah or Medusa grape that I showed you in the front yard, the old tree that I moved, that I call it a tree. And I took cuttings off of it the year we moved it and put them in a bucket. And I just planted these guys this year. They've been growing in a bucket in the backyard forever. More tomatoes. Big tomatoes. Over here we have yet more tomatoes. Yes, we like tomatoes. Tomatoes, we've got some peppers growing down here. Whole lots of peppers, yeah. Over here we should have some more peppers, jalapenos. Over here, this is supposed to be my giant tomatoes, but I don't know if we're gonna have any real giants. I need to cut these guys way back so they can get some more sun over here, so we can maybe get these guys to get a little bigger. We'll see. The season, well, today it feels like the season's over, but it's not. It's still just mid-August. We've got a ways to go. So these guys are doing well though. And this is the back side of that house. This is my little, I call it an outhouse because I designed it as an outhouse, but it's just my little garden shed I put out here. Built just for having some things handy. I recommend having your things handy. You don't have to go run in the backyard all the time to get them. Again, these are the, what we believe to be Campbell's Blue. We're not really sure because they're so old. The tree was planted, the woman who planted it is 98 years old, and she planted it when she got married. So it's like 75 years old. And so, you know, Campbell's Blue is just a guess of what it is. The leaf shape is a bit different than the regular Concord. It's kind of interesting. It has like a deeper shape in it like this, compared to the Concord that has doesn't have the deep cuts in it like this. So it's a little bit different, and the taste of it is amazing. We make it every year. I make it into grape juice for the season and do nothing but just steam out put everything into the Norpro and steam out the juices, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Here we have a little bit more ginger. Also, I've got some dill growing in there with it, and then of course more blueberries, as you all have seen already. We've got blueberries, but as you can see, the season of blueberries is just about done. There's not much blueberries left here. So I think that just about wraps up the tour of the front yard gardens, and now we'll get ready for the backyard. I know, they just keep going, people. If I can find a square inch, I'll plant something in it. Just don't stand still too long, or you might be planted. I guess we should start the tour of the back gardens by starting off by the compost worms. I've got 2 bins of composting worms here. Let's see. Oh, somebody's been throwing stuff on top, but yes, we've got composting worms in here. We got my dry stuff over here. Not too full right now because I've emptied it not too long ago for the season. And we're going along the side of the house. More bindweed. Remember the ugly, the good, the bad. This is definitely the ugly. Here we go. That's all bindweed. No thanks to me. Needs to be cleaned up. We'll get to it. Right here, we've got my pièce de résistance. Okay, I love my tumbles. I love my tumblers. These are all full of compost. Basically, let's see. The one that is really ready. I believe it might be this one. Let's check it out and see if this guy's ready. He might be ready. Oh, look how ready he is. He's ready for more stuff. That one has been emptied out. I know this one's full. Let's look in here. Let's see what's going on in this one. I know this is the one we're working on. Though. It's getting pretty good. It's getting there, right, people? So that is composting. This is, I call this my Halston runner bean. It's a runner bean that kind of mixed up in a little bit with the scarlet and some other stuff, and it's mostly white, and it tastes a lot like a lima bean, only it's huge. The tastiest bean. My kids love them to death, and it is the most beautiful, super great grower. As you can see, it is, gosh, 8 feet tall, probably 8 feet tall along here. It's growing in a little bed that's only about 2 feet wide at the bottom. And the hummingbirds sit up here on these lines and just love it. It's a very beautiful wall. I keep telling people they should take pictures along that wall because it makes such a pretty background with those lovely flowers and things. So over here, do you remember me talking about my Methuselah grape tree in the front? Well, these are more of her babies that I had take cuttings from. So the two that I showed you along the side, they came from these. And I've got, I think 3 still big ones here. And then I've got buckets of cuttings that I'm going to plant up and make more from, obviously. These are turmeric. This is my turmeric and ginger gardens. We've got turmeric and ginger everywhere. Of course, you'll recognize that. That's lacinato or dinosaur kale. Just haven't quite found a spot that I want to plant that yet. And under here is the ginger. Not doing well, actually it is doing fabulous now, but it wasn't doing too fabulous. We had it so hot that I actually had them in my greenhouse, which is where I've always been able to grow them at before. But this year, it was so hot in the greenhouse that they were just getting burned. So we ended up having to move them out here and put a shade cloth over them. And as you can see, they're coming back with a vengeance. Very, very happy out here. But they were not happy in the overly hot greenhouse. So just a lesson. Here's some more grape cuttings. These are some of my great fall things. I've got, let's see, I've got some fennel over there and some speckled romaine, some regular Paris romaine, beet starts to follow up on the other beets, and some Swiss chard. And that will all be going in the garden soon. This is my new garden project. This is my wasabi. These are a trick to grow. I'm still learning about them and working on them. And I'm going to figure out the minute details of how to grow wasabi, but it's been a learning process for me. These are alpine strawberries for next year. And these are Albion strawberries for next year. This guy right here is a stevia. And he is very, very happy stevia, as you can tell. He doing very well. I keep cutting it back and taking parts in to dry and to dehydrate, but it just comes back and it's loving it. Over here, we have more wasabi. These are a little bit older plants, and this is a different kind. This is the Daruma wasabi, and it's much happier than the ones over there, but it's a different type over there. I think I got these from a different grower, and I kind of feel like the plants are a little bit hardier and stronger. And so they're doing really lovely, but the ones over there were a little bit younger, and so we're going to give them some time and see if we can keep them going. But they are called a mishu. This is yacone. The yacone is going crazy. As you can see, it's, I don't even know, it's 7 feet tall right now. And this little fence is just there to keep the doggies out of it. But it's completely movable, so I will move it when it's time to harvest. But the yacona's down there and going crazy and loving every inch of its growing area. This is the back side of one of our beds. And this guy is full of peppers. These should be, yeah, my bell pepper gardens. We'll see, you're gonna see a lot of bell peppers going along here. This is my squash towers. When I get a little bit farther away, you'll be able to see more clearly what's going on with the squash. But we've got cucumbers on this side and then squash on the other side. These are, well, there's a nice little lemon cucumbers. It's a little watermelon. I don't know if he'll quite make it this year, but we'll see. Along here, this is all cucumbers. There you go. It's about time to pick. I'm going to be doing some canning today, so I'll be out here picking these guys in a little bit. Over on that side, you can see we've got spaghetti squash everywhere. And then you'll see some butternut squashes. Oh, they're kind of everywhere over through here. There's the butternut squashes. I think you can see them right through there, perhaps. Not so well, but you kind of can. It's a pretty good harvest of butternuts. There's another nice cucumber, a little bit smaller cucumber. I love how this spaghetti squash is sitting right there in the crook of that. This is my back deck. We'll talk about that in a little bit. There you go. I guess we can make it through here. Look at some of these. This is a yellow bomb squash here. There's a cute tiny little watermelon. I don't think he's going to do much this year, but he's cute. And you've got your spaghetti squashes going crazy. You've got some powdery mildew starting. That's normal for this time of year here in Washington, Western Washington. Let's see. There's a butternut right there. We didn't have much spaghetti squash last year, so I planted it a little heavy on the spaghetti squash. We love it a lot. So, and here we have another volunteer sunflower that I could squeeze around, barely. Okay, there you got a nice butternut squash, you can see. Another butternut squash there. There's a butternut right there, a couple butternuts there. So they're along here. There's some tromboncinos in there. Little duck under this branch. This time of year, they're just going crazy everywhere, really. See, what do we have here? That is a nice butternut. That's a nice giant butternut up there. We're ducking underneath here. Let's see if we can see that butternut that's on the other side. That one looks beautiful. Let's see if we can find him. Tromboncino's crazy. Now that's a butternut, guys. Look at that bad boy. He's huge. That's a beautiful butternut. Okay, so back to the gardens. Head out of the squash area. This is where I've got some tree collards that I have taken cut-ins on so we can sell them again one day. Over here you got tree collard gardens. Tree collards. You also have some lacinato, of course. Nice tree collard there. Purple tree collard. It's our greenhouse. This is my lovely backside of your cone. This is where I didn't know where to put any more sweet potatoes. So of course I had to plant some more sweet potatoes. And some of these are in just buckets and things right here. This is the pepperoncinis. I love these. Pickled pepperoncinis are one of my favorites. We have purple regular potatoes over here. And back here, things are starting to really die off and getting ready to be picked. As you can see, this is the potato field. And of course, you recognize that as zucchini. That's zucchini plants. And potatoes here. These guys are just ready to be picked. I'm gonna let them go a little longer, let them die back a little farther. Then we'll come out and pull these out and see what kind of harvest we get for potatoes. Obviously we've got some grass back here. And again, you'll see the loveliness of bindweed. But this is all potatoes basically back here. Volunteer sunflower again, but all of these potatoes, and you can see we're hilled up here, so we should end up with some potatoes. Let's take a little peek here and see if we got any here that we can see. There we go. German butterball, baby. There you go. See the German butterballs under there? Gosh, if I can get the leaves out of the way. There you go. German butterballs. These are like my favorite potatoes ever. Super good. So we'll start digging those in a couple weeks probably. Could dig them now if I wanted to, but I'm gonna let the greens die off. And then these guys over here still need a little bit more time. It's like everybody's on a different time loop, I think. This is seed saved my beets. These are all beets, and so I've already taken most of the seeds off that I want. So now it's time to come out here and do that maintenance and get things cleaned up. Also, I planted some, which I just reminded myself, because actually, let's be honest, I forgot that I planted some peas for fall. So we've got peas for fall here. So we're gonna get them going, and we'll have some lovely peas over here also. Get some peas going. This is our composting area. Has some grass growing in it right now because summer is a busy time and I haven't kept up with it. But underneath here, underneath that black plastic is a whole lot of beautiful compost. And that's where I store my lovely finished compost. So that's good. That's the potatoes. That needs to be cleaned. That is our circular compost for fall. We'll use that. Under there, that's all soil. So just this area here needs to be cleaned up of weeds. This is our bell pepper area, which I kind of already talked to you a little bit about. And of course, that's, again, the squash arbor or squash trellises. You'll see some beautiful sweet peppers in here. Here's some lovely, nice, sweet bells. And these are all different colors. So we're going to, you know, they've got a little while. They got to still ripen up. There's a lot of them there, but and they're not that they're a bad size, but you know, I want my reds and my yellows and the beautifuls. Well, here's an orange starting to turn. There you go. We got an orange starting to turn in there. That's good. Now this row over here is mostly jalapenos. I love jalapenos, and we'll do a lot with jalapenos. These are habaneros right here. These are some Hungarian sweets. So, and there's also some banana peppers in here. Here you go. You can see peppers growing very, very well. Lots of peppers. Over here we've got, these are strawberries grown in gutters. Looks like they could use a little bit of water as you hear me crunch them. We've got down here, these are blueberries. That one is blueberry huckleberry. And then we've got, of course, more strawberries. We've got a cherry tree who gave us a lot of beautiful cherries this year. We've got dogwoods back here. This is my wasabi mushroom garden area. We've got apples. We've got some apples going back here. Same problems as we talked about in the front. This is our wood chip hill, dogwoods. I've got 2 pawpaws growing back here. Got a little blueberry here. Apples need to be just picked off of this tree and lighten his load because it's a lot of apples that we're never going to use, and that's just poor maintenance there. So again, that's the bad. So I need to come out and get those guys out of there. This is a corkscrew filbert. I just paused for a minute to hear the pretty bird singing up there. It's very lovely. Twirling. We've got some logs back here that for mushrooming. And then I've got a whole stack of mushrooms logs here. And their whole point. Hi, little bird. I'm not going to hurt you. And this is my shiitake mushroom garden. Hopefully we'll get shiitake mushrooms. These guys are just here. I have inoculated all these with shiitake mushrooms. You can see the little plugs in them, and then that's wax that we sealed it in there so that hopefully only my shiitakes can take over. And then up here, we have above it a sprinkler. You can see right there. So when I water, we just slightly sprinkle this so we keep it nice and moist to hopefully get shiitake mushrooms. I think there's 1,000 shiitake mushroom plugs in there, so we'll see how it's doing. This guy we purchased like in December of last year. These guys are the ones we did. I don't expect much of them yet, they're not very old, but this guy right here was done quite a while ago. Maybe something happening right here. Let's see. See something right. Where at? Right there. That might be something going on. Let's see. Maybe we'll watch that spot and see if it's going to take off. I don't know. It looks like it's a plug spot, but I don't know. Doesn't look too far along, but you know what? We'll just keep watching it and see what happens. Trying to keep them wet and things, and you know, that water seems to be keeping them moist, but we'll see. So that is the shiitake mushroom growing area. When the wasabi gets bigger, it's going to come back here so it has a nice shaded place also, and then we'll do the same thing with the water for the shiitake, or for the wasabi. And coming under this, coming around under our dogwood and our corkscrew filbert. I've got a little swing over here. And I think that ends this part of the backyard garden tour. We've got some things on the deck, but you know, we can kind of take a peek over here, but mostly it's just my herbs and some beans and things like that. Everything's looking a little dried and a little haphazard. This is again the tree collards that I've got growing in a wine barrel there. And then of course the greenhouse. It's got the shade cloth on it because it's very hot. It's been a very hot year this year. And this is the actual gate to go into this garden. We're just finishing off this squash, and then we'll flip this garden into, I believe we're going to grow garlic in this garden this year. So give a new spot to grow some beautiful garlic. And that is it. I think that's gonna end our 2021 midsummer. Well, basically that's kind of it for the summer. This is what we've got, and I think we're really happy with it. It's been a really hard growing year. Super hot weather, super dry, not much water. It was crazy in Western Washington, and just kind of getting through the season and learning how to garden in a time of change, and obviously with the whole COVID thing that's been going on too. But you know what? We're blessed, and our gardens have been blessed, and I'm not going to complain. It's a lot of work, and I need to get that bindweed pulled, but we've all got our things to deal with. So thank you, and enjoy gardening. Grow your own food and live a healthy lifestyle.